Please, for Brandon Mayer.
Hey guys, what are you doing? Hello, React Miami. It's a great day to talk about Blitz.js. So let's go back in time a couple years. I was working as a consultant. I loved JavaScript, but became increasingly frustrated with all the complexity. Anything that got in the way of me building features slowly depleted my morale. I really wanted to love full stack development again. I wanted to be extremely productive again. So one day in early 2020, I decided enough was enough. And I set out to build an all-in-one framework like Ruby on Rails for full stack React apps. With the help of hundreds of contributors, Blitz became an amazing success. Developers loved it. We reached 11,000 GitHub stars and thousands of users all around the world, from students to startups to enterprises. But last year, we had a serious problem. Early in the year, after reaching the limits of our initial design, we decided to fork Next.js, allowing us to bypass its limitations and really fine-tune the developer experience. In hindsight, it seems crazy to fork Next.js, but don't they say that fortune favors the bold? Anyways, that proved to be too difficult and killed the momentum of both our adoption and our feature development. And so with that, I completely failed to achieve my dream of an all-in-one framework for React. I've concluded it's nearly impossible to do, at least without a ton of funding that doesn't also require a business model behind it. The complexity added by client-side JavaScript frameworks like React is so great that it's extremely hard as a single team to manage both the React part and all the back-end database and all the other framework stuff. So last December, after facing the harsh facts of reality, we had to make a change. Shutting down Blitz was not an option. So many Blitz users, including myself, cannot imagine having to go back to a non-Blitz world. The Blitz developer experience is just too good, and the alternative too painful. So we posted an RFC to pivot Blitz from an all-in-one fork of Next.js to instead be a framework-agnostic toolkit that you can use with any JavaScript application. The RFC was very well received, and so we decided to move forward. We have been hard at work the last few months, and I'm so excited to present to you, for the very first time, the Blitz Remix. Wait, no, that's not gonna work, no, sorry. I'm excited to present to you the next Blitz. Sorry, that's not gonna work either. We can do like Prisma. Friends and colleagues, for real this time, I'm introducing you to Blitz 2.0, the full stack toolkit for JavaScript. So now instead of trying to manage all of the React stuff and all of the other backend framework stuff, we're letting Next.js focus on the React stuff, and we're going to focus on all the other stuff. And as they say at the grocery store, it has a new look, but the same great taste. We are preserving the same incredible developer experience, but with very minimal modifications. The key difference is that now you install and import directly from Next.js instead of from Blitz. But beyond that, it's very much the same experience. Blitz 2.0 consists currently of 3 key components. Blitz Base provides a foundation of a user experience that other things can build upon. So Blitz base is what you would get by installing the core Blitz package, and it gives you the following. The Blitz CLI provides a better experience for Next.js because it's smarter about environment variable loading and allows you to load different env files based on the -e flag. All this does is load the environment variables and then hand it off to the Next.js CLI. I did post an RFC to add this to Next.js core. If you would like to see this, please talk to the Vercel DevRel team here this weekend, or this week. And we do the same thing for Prisma. Prisma is really rough when it comes to environment variables, and this little line right here just makes your life so much easier. And it loads whether it's production, staging, etc. We also have a Blitz Console, which is a node REPL that works with TypeScript and also loads your correct environment variables for running commands against staging or production or development. Secondly, Blitz base provides plugins and middleware. You have two setup files, one for the server on top and one for the client on the bottom. You can pass any number of plugins, each of which can add global middleware and other things. And these can export these utilities such as a get server-side props wrapper, an API route wrapper, and a higher order component for your application. And then you use those little exported functions to wrap all your Next.js data loaders and API routes. And this gives you access to, it runs global middleware, and it gives you access to this context object, which middleware can add things to. And so this is really great for things like authentication, logging, error handling, reporting, etc. We also have the Blitz new command, which generates an entire application for you, complete with Prisma database, Blitz authentication, testing, linting, prettier, get hooks, like the best-in-class setup that you would want for a new application. That command gives you everything that you need, and it's pretty awesome. We have the Blitz generate command, which scaffolds code end-to-end from the database to React components for a new feature. And so that allows you to move much quicker, and we also let you customize those templates to generate code that is more consistent with your application than what we have by default. We also provide type-safe routing for Next.js, which is just incredible. It allows you to import this object and link to any page without hard coding the URL. Instead, you just have this object that's type-safe, you set the name of the route, and so it solves problems like broken links. I also have an RFC open in the Next.js repo for adding that, so please go pile on that one too. Our loved recipe feature is coming over from Legacy Blitz. This allows you to install a third-party library with a single command. It installs any dependencies that you need, it adds configuration files, and it even updates your code to add any React context providers that the library may need. So this is super cool, and we're going to be making this even better and making it easier to write recipes. And so this will be like, you can, like, if you don't want to use any other Blitz stuff, but you just want to use this with your Next.js app, then with this new setup, it's perfect. So you can pick and choose exactly what you want or don't want from this Blitz toolkit. The next major module is Blitz Auth. Blitz Auth is a battle-tested alternative to NextAuth that provides a simple and powerful developer experience with built-in authorization. Our philosophy is to give you maximum control with minimal complexity. And we do that by providing imperative APIs and favoring code scaffolding over abstractions. Back in the early days of Blitz, when I was designing our authentication setup, this blog post by Jose Belim was hugely inspirational. Now, Jose was the creator of Devise, which is the most popular authentication library for Ruby on Rails. And so after seeing how that played out over many, many years, when Jose went to write an authentication library for Phoenix, He was not going to take the same approach as Devise because he saw how much of a mess it turned into. And so he took the approach of abstracting only the minimal kind of core pieces for giving you the biggest bang for your buck, but the rest is code scaffolded into your project. And so with Blitz, I've taken a very much similar approach. And the problem with authentication abstractions is that as your product grows and your business grows, the requirements around authentication explode and abstractions just get in your way. And so this is one of those times where you need to, it's like go slow to go fast later. So this is what it looks like. We have these very simple APIs. You have a one-line function for creating a login session. So like instead of having some client-side thing, it's just this, you run this anywhere on the server. It can be in your login function, your login API route. It can be in like some special flow, like you can add it wherever. It's just very simple. You can log out with that command. You can change public session data, and then authorization. And then, of course, you can access any of that session data anywhere on the server side. These very simple APIs allow you to build powerful experiences with just a few lines of code. The most common use cases are letting the user switch between different company accounts without logging back and logging back in. And we have an example of how to do this in the Blitz documentation. The second most common use case is user impersonation. So this is common for admin, back panel stuff, where you need to see what a customer's account actually looks like. And with this Blitz opcode, it's so easy, it blows your mind. On the client, you can access the session data anywhere using the use session hook. And of course, it's fully type safe. And you can add authentication stuff directly to the Next.js page. And so this is great for hiding stuff from people that you don't want them to see, whether they're logged in and you don't want them to see the login page, or if they're logged out, you don't want them to see something else. And here's an example of the code scaffolding part. So this is basically the login mutation that you get. And it's really quite simple. This is your main function down here at the bottom. You have an authenticate user, and then you have that session.create thing that we just saw. So that's the only line of Blitz code here. Up here is just code for verifying the password that you control. And so as your business requirements change and get more advanced, you have the code right there. You don't have to worry about Blitz like adding a feature or not having the feature or whatever. So this has worked out so well. And we generate tests for this as well, so you know that it's going to keep working. All right, Blitz Rpc is the crown jewel of the Blitz developer experience. It provides a zero API data layer that allows you to develop 10 times faster than with REST or GraphQL. You just write functions that run on the server, import them into your front end, and it just works because we compiled the API for you. And of course, you get full stack type safety without any type of code generation process. So in Blitz Rpc, you write queries and mutations. And here you see a query resolver on the top, and it's just a normal function. Nothing, there's no magic here. Inside this function, you can talk to a database or a file system or a third-party API. And then you import that function directly into your component and pass it to the use query hook. This use query hook is built on top of React Query, which is an amazing library by Tanner. Huge shout out to him. If you get nothing from this talk, take away that you should go check out use query and use it regardless of what else you might be doing. The other great thing about this is that you get that full stack type safety. So you can see that on the client, you get your actual types, autocomplete and everything, and it's just amazing. So this right here, this is all the code. There's no fetch, no HTTP, no REST, GraphQL, no JSON.stringify, no date.parse. Like, that's it. Like, it just is so brilliant whenever you actually get your hands on it. And for a long time, even though I built it, I was like, wait, what else do I have to do? It's so easy. A mutation is very similar, just has a function that runs on the server. In this case, you can see that we're ensuring that the user is logged in. And then you import it into your client, and there's a different hook called use mutation that works a little bit differently, which is better for forms. You're probably wondering, how does this actually work? Well, as you can see, at compile time, we swap out this function import with something like this that just does a fetch call to that server, or to that function on the server. And we actually do more than this. We actually handle properly dates. And so we serialize and deserialize dates and maps and sets and things for you, which is something that's a headache if you have to do it yourself. And so this works great with Next.js, the SWC, because we use a Webpack loader that does this. And so you don't have to worry about it getting in the way of the Rust compiler. So with the Blitz CLI and Blitz Auth and Blitz Rpc all together, the developer experience and the speed with which you can build apps is out of this world. And I invite you to try it for yourself after the conference, or maybe during. So what is the actual status of this fancy new thing? Well, we have an alpha release available today, but it is alpha. It may or may not work, but like most of the code is there. All the basics are working. I think our new app generation may or may not work, but like the library is actually quite well. Before the stable release, we need to finish migrating features from legacy Blitz and do more developer experience polish. We need to overhaul our documentation and write code mods to automate upgrades for previous existing Blitz users. And this is going to be a very seamless process to upgrade because the actual changes to your code are very minimal from legacy Blitz. Now, we are an open source project. So if you would like to get into open source or do more or different open source, we would love to have your help. And myself and the other Blitz maintainers would be more than happy to help you and walk you through like what you could help with and so forth. So future ideas for where we want to go is remix support. We want to add a background processing feature that is going to totally change the game for JavaScript applications and add modules for things like file upload, emails. Now, before I go, I want to tell you about my latest project, Flight Control. It gives you the deployment experience of Heroku, but on your own AWS account. Now, why would you want to touch AWS? Because by running on AWS, you get much greater scalability, security, and control. The big deal about Flight Control is that it removes all the reasons to not use AWS by making it so easy for people who have no AWS experience at all. We currently support servers, static sites, and databases, with lots more coming this year. So it would mean the world to me if you would either try this out or tell your company and get them to try it out as well. So if you would like to learn more about Blitz, go to blitzjs.com. And remember that we're in the transition period, so the docs there are legacy, but there's a notice to remind you what's happening, and we'll get new docs up soon. If you want to keep up to date with us on Twitter, there's our handles. And last but not least, we have free stickers. They're out there in the hall, or in the thing out there on the table. And please help yourself to as many as you would like. Take some for a friend. If you're watching this online later and you want stickers, go to blitzjs.com/stickers, enter your address, and we will send you free stickers anywhere in the world. Thank you very much. React Miami.